Welcome to a project where I'm invested in, which would definitely fit into the degenerate investment projects category. What do I mean with that? Well, there are a couple of red flags here, and I'm quite certain this will sooner or later stop working. The question is, can we get enough out of it before it stops? But before that, this is definitely no financial advice, it's for educational purposes only. Do your own due diligence, and if you're a risk-averse investor, you can basically end this video and move along, because as I said, your investment here is not safe. I got paid already, but I don't know how often this will happen in the future and when it will stop. So, but first, what is it? We are currently looking at Bitnest. Bitnest works, you can have your loops here, which is basically you lock your USDT for amount of time. You have 4 different durations, and depending on the duration you lock it, you will receive more ROI. So you can look at here, you get 0.4% for 1 day, 4% for 7 days, and 24% for 28 days. This is basically already it. It's a smart contract, meaning you deposit, and after the fact you already get your investment directly back to the wallet. So you can see here I have currently 1 loop running. I deposited $106.39 and I will be receiving $131 in 26 days and 22 hours. From the last loop I only made a screenshot. You can see it now here, and you can see the amount I invested and I received. And if we are looking into my MetaMask portfolio wallet, you can see here this is exactly the amount I received back. So this is for now working. Now to the red flags, yellow flags, and the other stuff. First of all, if you look into the profit, 24% in 28 days, are roughly a bit below 1% ROI a day. Way too much. So again, such high ROI numbers are probably nothing sustainable. I come to the part how we make the earning, or how we claim to make money, or at least that's what somebody explained in the Telegram group. Don't know about that, how accurate it is. So this huge amount of ROI, it should raise some flags. I initially tried it 1 day and it was paying. It's apparently also existing for over a year. So that's more or less the reason why I tried it at all. So high ROI, very high ROI, a red flag. The second red flag for me, I'm trying it, but I'm a degenerate. I have a small budget. I gamble away to satisfy my gambling needs. So I take this as gambling, and I assume everything will be gone in the end, but like a real gambler should. So the second part, you have 17 generations of referral levels. 17. So it really hard incentivizes you to bring more people into this, who bring more capital into this, who bring again more people into this, bringing more capital. You get the idea? So it smells like fresh money comes in, pays the old money, right? Until they have enough and they close up shop. Like if you watch Mada content, this is probably exactly what happened to Nevermind. They closed up shop because they made enough. The cool thing here is you get your initial investment back after the time has passed. If you look through the site, they claim they are super secure, that they have smart contracts, and that these smart contracts are immutable, meaning the code cannot be changed anymore. This might be true, but a smart contract is nothing else than some code. So if I'm a software developer, so I know a little bit of software development, nothing related to blockchain, but in general, I still could make a code that is not changeable, that says my repayment is working until 2027, and then I stop. Still unchangeable code, currently working, but this could be something I can code very easily. So the second thing, is when you go to the loop. We claim it's open source. If you go there, you actually land in a GitHub repository. So here is actually code sitting. But this is definitely not anything related to what we're doing, at least not with the loop. I mean, you have, if you open it and look into it, you have definitely code that is doing something with PancakeSwap API, but this is only something for the saving box, from what I understood. And this little thing here seems way too less to be able to have all that functionality they claim to have. So for me, I've written a ton of code. I've worked in a couple of projects, nothing, as I said, blockchain related, but 4 files, one is even just an interface. No, this is nothing. This is not a product. That is nothing. Yeah, this can't work. So they also claim to have a security audit, which is directly going into the same direction. They have a security audit. So this is something that actually happened. But this is only looking if the code is doing, if the code has no security risks, if the code itself follows certain guidelines and so on. So it's basically, you can maybe imagine like when you're building a car and you let the inspectors to your car, they just look if the bolts are screwed in, if the quality of the product itself is good, but they never turn on the engine and see if it's actually driving. So they just look, are the parts, are the measurements correct, are the best practices regarding, I don't know, processing of the materials and so on and so forth. So they don't know if the car is actually driving, or maybe if the car is what normally would move you forward is turning backwards, or if the wheel is when you turn left, that the car wheel turns right. This is nothing we tested. So also they claim to have fixed this, but I don't see if there was an analyzation of this stuff. So also would take that with a grain of salt. So these are 2 things I noticed. So going forward, how do they make money? They have this lease here. This is apparently the thing where they make their money. And if you look at the rules, so the idea is you can lend, or they call it lease, or borrow money, and you have to pay a lot of interest. So imagine I need to borrow money for a single day. I need to pay 0.7% roughly for 7 days, 1% daily. For 14 days, 1.2% daily. So this explains, of course, why you can pay so much with the loop, because somebody borrows for the 14 days where you get, I think it was 9%, and you can get 14 times 1.2. So definitely we earn more than they pay you. But you can't verify if they actually have any customers. I was in a Telegram group. First of all, this doesn't feel like a community. It feels more like a cult. So any critical questions or any remarks in that area directly triggered shitstorm on the people there. Apart from a few which try to answer things, but again not verifiable. So one explained that compared to normal borrowing, the difference between the borrowing and the leasing is the leasing has a couple of benefits, meaning that you have no liquidation risk, because when you normally borrow, you have a liquidation risk, meaning during the borrowing duration. So meaning if you, I don't know, you put in 1 Bitcoin to borrow 100,000 USD. That's not even possible. Okay, let's go back. You put in 1 Bitcoin to borrow 50,000 USD. If the Bitcoin then drops like 25%, 30%, your complete position is liquidated if you not put in more Bitcoin to keep a certain ratio. Here, the liquidation happens only at the end of the duration if you do not repay. So that's definitely a benefit. You do not need to watch your position during the lifetime of the position. The second thing they claim, which is also true, is that the efficiency of the capital is higher, because I tried borrowing and you normally have to put in like 20, 30, 40% more than the amount you borrow to keep a safe margin away from the liquidation. Here, for example, you only need to put in 5% more from the amount you borrow. So it's more capital efficient. But if this is really explaining that somebody would be willing to pay such high interest rates, so for example, if I borrow on other crypto exchanges, USTD, I pay like 4 to 5% RPR on the year for the amount I borrow, and not 0.7% a day. I don't know, I can't verify that, because they said the customers off-chain, they don't want to know about it, and then the, unfriendly remarks started again, because apparently on banks you can also not verify that the customers are taking loans, but the bank is highly regulated. This not. So another thing to keep in mind. The cool thing is you can on liquidity click and you go directly to a Bitnest chain, so you see this wallet with the amount of tokens. I don't know if this is actually their wallet. In your wallet you can track from transaction a bit what is happening. I don't know if you can track it completely, but definitely things are on the chain, so you can track that stuff. But it still doesn't guarantee that when the loop is over it gets paid back. There's nothing that can guarantee you that. And for me, going forward, my plan is, I started with, actually I wanted to do $100, but I had a bit more laying around. So I hope that I can get four loops done. And when these 4 loops are done, I basically have my complete initial investment of $100, or in this case $106 back. And then I will start only with the fresh $100, and then I am risk-free. Then this thing can shut down any day, I don't care. But this is my approach going forward. And I have not tried support, I have not tried chat. As I said, I was in a Telegram group for exactly 10 minutes, and then I was like, okay, nope, thank you. And this tries to look very open, very transparent, very that they know what they're doing, but I already pointed out some red flags. So for me, this will stop working. That's why it's a degenerate investment. But the question is when, and do we extract enough income beforehand? I had the luck in Nebomine. I extracted a bit more than I put initially in. I know other people have not had the luck, so because I was quite early in Nebomine, so it could be that this closes shop tomorrow. It could be that I get my 4, 5, 6 wheels or loops in. We're definitely trying, because we are quite active in the Telegram, we're quite active in the social media. And yeah, I just wanted to tell you what I am doing with a little bit of my cash. I would not touch more of 5% of my capital at all, or anything. Maybe you also have a little gambling addiction you need to satisfy, like me. So that's why I basically decided to have a very small amount of my budget for this kind of investments, because in the past I had not this limitation, and still I blew up a few accounts trading because I was not keeping in check. This portion goes into my gambling side, this portion goes into my investment side. So in this case, after I changed it, yeah, okay, this is money I can lose, and I expect to lose, and if it's increasing, cool. If not, yeah, it's the thrill of the game, right? So I would not recommend investing here. That's basically my verdict, but it paid for me already, so I'm hooked. But yeah.